As many as 400,000 people died from medical mistakes last year in America. In the medical community, they're often called adverse events.
Now, California law requires hospitals to track and report adverse events, but that information isn't so easy to get. So our investigative reporter, Stephen Stock, spent months digging for that data and joins us tonight with what you found, Stephen.
Raj, exactly right. In the last 4 years, California hospitals reported to the state they've had more than 6,000 adverse events. Not all of those events resulted in death, but all those errors, or bad outcomes as they're known, were not expected.
Have to go through this.
42-year-old Chris Canavero had a brain tumor removed last year.
And the surgery was brilliant.
But the success of the operation was short-lived.
Everything went to hell.
My mom went in on March 30th, 2007 for a double knee replacement.
Holly Stewart's mother was a vibrant 72 years old when she went to the hospital to have knee surgery 7 years ago.
And she says, my knees don't hurt, it's my stomach.
These two families both suffered what the medical experts call unexpected outcomes or adverse events. California law requires hospitals to report those adverse events to the state within 5 days. The state then tracks all of those events, anything from bed sores to operating on the wrong body part to death related to surgery. We discovered there have been more than 6,000 adverse events over the last 4 years, resulting in millions of dollars in fines to the state. But our investigation found the information published online is limited and difficult to find. And it doesn't say which hospitals make which mistakes. It just shows total numbers. Like Holly Stewart's mom, who died 2 days after knee surgery, becoming septic from a twisted intestine.
Gave her a big hug, and she opened her eyes, and then she closed them, and she didn't open them again.
While Chris did survive, he got an infection that caused brain damage. Now he expects to live only a few more months.
You carry that extra burden of knowing what it could have been, what it might have been like if this hadn't happened, if the infection hadn't happened.
After months of digging up information on adverse events in California, we found that over the past 4 years, 2 Bay Area hospitals, Stanford and UCSF, lead the state in the number of adverse events. But you would never know that looking at the Department of Public Health's website. It publishes a report each year that does not identify individual hospitals. But the complete data from the state that we obtained does identify those hospitals. You would also never know that most of those adverse events at both UCSF and Stanford are for bed sores. Other hospitals lower on the numerical list have the highest numbers in the state in more serious categories. Take, for instance, Santa Clara Valley Medical Center. According to the state's own data, Santa Clara Valley had 30 cases where a foreign object was left inside a patient during surgery. That's out of a total of 64 adverse events. Or take Feather River Hospital near Chico. It had 22 adverse events in the last 4 years, 10 of them listed for performing the wrong surgery.
Patients have a right to know what the quality of care is in their institution.
Dr. Jay Wolfson is both a medical doctor and ethicist who studies adverse event reporting. He wants more transparency in the system.
The hospitals would be able to look more carefully at those data on their own quality and safety and use them to improve them and then to tout how good they are compared to other hospitals.
Do you think it's important to track them?
It is absolutely important to track them, particularly preventable adverse events.
Dr. Josh Adler serves as Chief Medical Officer at UCSF. Over the last 4 years, UCSF has gotten the most fines in the state for adverse events. Dr. Adler says those high numbers show the hospital is doing a good job tracking the errors and then using that same data to improve the quality of care for all its patients.
I believe we are a very safe hospital, and part of why we are safe is we have been in this error finding and resolving business for a long time.
Dr. Adler says not every hospital in California is as committed to tracking these adverse events. He points to other hospitals that have low adverse events numbers that he says are too good to be true. Of the hospitals that reported to the state, nearly half of them said they had 5 or fewer mistakes in the 4-year span. Some hospitals even said they had only 1 mistake or adverse event.
I certainly think we need to be more transparent as a medical community, even to the point of simply saying, do we really even know that everyone is doing their best to count and report their adverse events.
States like Washington and Minnesota do just that. In fact, Washington tracks adverse events by type and location on a quarterly basis. Not here in California, where the Department of Public Health does not publish where or when adverse events occur.
Because right now the system is not designed to improve patient safety.
As for victims like Chris Canavero, he just hopes others can learn from these mistakes so they won't have to go through what he's gone through.
I mean, so I'm very happy that you guys have took some time, and I hope it will help somebody, and I hope it has already.
Now, Stanford Hospital told us in a statement they, quote, treat some of the sickest patients in the nation, many of whom have much more complex medical conditions than typically seen at community hospitals. Santa Clara Medical Center told us, quote, our focus remains patient safety. And since 2011, we have had a significant and steady decrease in the number of retained foreign objects after surgery. As for Feather River Hospital, it said, quote, it is not always black and white. We make the report if there is any possibility that there might be a reportable event. As for the state of California, public health officials refused to sit down and talk with us about any of this. To help you learn more about all this, to view these hospitals, the list, the good and the bad, just go to our website, NBCBayArea.com, click on the investigations tab. We have the whole data right up there.
Easy to read on our website.
Absolutely. And what the state won't do, we did for them.
Great. Thank you, Stephen.
You bet.